Do you know that your state Supreme Court has the power to determine everything from election results and gerrymandering cases all the way to the protection of the unborn? Since the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs overturning Roe v. Wade, North Carolina is one of the last states in the South where abortion is legal. It's now called a haven for abortion access in the South. When the question of life inevitably comes before the North Carolina Supreme Court, what will the court look like? Before the 2020 elections, the North Carolina Supreme Court was a 6-1 progressive activist court. 3 of those seats were on the ballot in 2020, including the seat of Chief Justice. In the battle for Chief Justice, a candidate dubbed the next Ruth Bader Ginsburg went up against a proven conservative. The more conservative candidate won by just 401 votes. This was the closest race in the 2020 cycle, one of the closest in North Carolina state history. And iVoter Guide played an important part. Over 5% of North Carolina voters used iVoter Guide, and all 3 races were decided by less than 2.5 percentage points. But even with these victories, the court still had a 4-3 activist majority in 2022, and they were able to strike down the district maps drawn by the legislature. They also ruled as unconstitutional a law requiring a photo ID in order to vote, opening up elections to fraud. 2 more seats were on the ballot in 2022, and both were won by conservatives. Once again, iVoter Guide played a decisive role. These close races were decided by about 2.5% of voters, where almost 5% of voters used iVoter Guide. In just 2 cycles, the North Carolina Supreme Court went from a 6-1 activist majority to a 6-1 conservative majority. Just 2 months after the election, the new conservative court surprised everyone and, in a rare move, reheard the case about voter ID laws. The decision was reversed, and requiring a photo ID to vote is not only constitutional, but it's now the law. It took only 2 election cycles to flip control in North Carolina. Each win is critical. That's why we invest time and resources into these contests, and why we need motivated biblical voters in every election. iVoter Guide will continue to feed truth to the silent majority of Christian voters. Since most judges on the ballot run as nonpartisan, iVoter Guide research equips biblically minded voters to identify those who will follow the Constitution and identify those who legislate from the bench. By using iVoter Guide, you're playing a deciding role in hundreds of races across the United States and impacting thousands more where we help conservative candidates get elected. We've seen the proof. We know that together we can make a world of difference in 2024. Use iVoter Guide. Vote wisely.